Hello guys, this is Justin for CG Plus, and welcome back to day 2 of the speaker tutorial. This is the speaker that we modeled in the first day, and in the second day we're gonna try and give it some textures, and then we're gonna render it. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete the reference folder and the texture group because we don't need them. I'm also going to delete the directional light and the two shaders that we created. Okay, first of all, we're going to need to move this up till it reaches basically till it sits on the ground, kind of like that. Okay, and now we're going to create a new mesh item, which is going to be our floor, and we're just going to drag a rectangle like that and center it. And now we're going to jump over to the render tab. Now we're going to need two cameras. The first one is going to be called a Sharkcam. This is basically the camera through which we are going to render. Okay, I'm just trying to find a right angle here. First of all, we need to change the frame width and height to an image aspect ratio of about 1. See, I have 800 by 750. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Kind of like that. One thing I'm going to use that you might not have, it's called the 9B Studios pad presets. These are basically a bunch of materials that they were pre-made by 9B Studios, and they are very, very helpful when it comes to texturing because you save a lot of time, and they are customizable. So I'm gonna use the 9B pad presets and the standard materials that come with the Modo content. Alternatively, if you have a purchased copy of Modo, you can use their share function on the site to find materials that you would like to integrate in your scenes. Okay, so as I was saying, we're going to need two cams. The Sharkcam, which will be the cam that we're going to render with, and the test cam, which is going to serve as the cam that we're going to use for tests. And by tests, I mean look at materials closely. Okay, so now before we start assigning materials, we're going to have to create some environment and some lighting. First of all, we're going to assign a material for the floor because this floor is going to serve as our shadow catcher. Okay, and I'm just going to move it above the base shader because we're going to add a new shader for it, and we're going to turn off cast shadows and only leave on receive shadows and visible to camera. And if you want, you can leave visible to indirect rays on, but it kind of depends on your own taste. So I'm just gonna leave it I'm gonna leave it on because, as you can see, it gives us some soft shadows where the objects intersect, kind of like an ambient occlusion pass. Although we're gonna set an output for AO2. Okay, and now we're gonna need an environment. So we're gonna use an HDRI map let's see here, load image, and I just have a bunch of studio HDRIs. I can't remember where I got them. It was from a user on DeviantArt. They're free to use, so you just Google Studio HDRI DeviantArt. Okay, so let's try with, say, 23. It's gonna take a while to load it. Oh, and we didn't finish here. We need to set this to shadow catcher, and we want the environment to be visible to camera. And let's just give it a quick render and see what we got. You might wanna bump down the resolution just for speed's sake. Let's try with 18. It's really it depends on personal taste. So I'm just gonna go with this one, 20. If you're not happy with the backdrop, you can turn visible to camera off on this environment, and we're gonna create a new environment which is gonna serve as our background. So you just create a new environment. Sorry, phone. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just gonna have to move it on silent. Okay, so as I was saying, you can use a different environment for the background. You just need to turn off visible to indirect rays, reflection and refraction rays, and just leave visible camera on. And then you can use either an image or a color gradient. So I'm just gonna go with a color gradient here, slight bluish color gradient, kind of like that. And I think we're done. Now we're gonna have to add some area lights. So we're gonna go create light, area light, and we're gonna switch over to perspective. And we're gonna change the size. And you just move it around until you're kind of happy with it. Turn off simple shading, and we're gonna leave the radiance to 3.5, and now we're gonna duplicate it, rotate it, and we're gonna move it make it like a rim light, kind of like that. And we're going to change the radiance to 2. We don't want it to be too bright. Now we're going to duplicate the main light again, and we're going to move it to the other side. Change the radiance to 4. And now we're going to create a new area light. So item, create light, area light. We're going to move it up, and we're going to rotate it minus 90 degrees. make it a bit bigger, and change the radiance sorry, to 2, and turn off simple shading. Okay, now for the rim lights, we're gonna turn off the specular, so effect specular 0, because we don't want to have like 4 specular highlights. So we're just gonna go with 2, one from the main light and one from the top light. Okay, let's save our scene, and we're gonna save it as speaker 003. 002 was a test, and I think we're done with the lights. I'm gonna change the resolution to something smaller, say 500, and I'm gonna turn down the specular for the main material. Okay, and we're gonna give it a test render to see how the lights look. And I think that we can probably use some coloration of the lights. So I'm gonna get the, actually let's name these. So this is gonna be top light, this is gonna be key light, this is gonna be right rim, left rim, and we're gonna change the top light color to a slight pink, but not too much. You can see it there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but if you go with it too saturated, you're gonna get a very well, the result won't be that nice. But again, it's personal preference. And now the right rim, we're gonna change it to some orange color, and maybe rotate it a bit just so we can get some of that orange bleeding. Okay. And the right rim, I'm sorry, the left rim is gonna be green, but very, very desaturated green. This is too much. Okay, and let's render. And I think this looks okay. Now we can save our scene, and we can start assigning materials. So we're going to start with the case. The case, you can probably, I don't know, again, it's personal preference. You can either make it a solid color, all of it, or you can make it multiple colors. I'm just going to go with a simple black and white case. But first I'm going to name the panel. So it's going to be front panel with a diffuse amount of 100. And let's give it a, it's going to be wood. So I'm going to give it a woodish color. Okay, and for the case, I think that I'm gonna go with, say, these parts are gonna be white, so it's gonna be case white, and these parts are going to be black. So this is going to be case black. Okay. And maybe this one can be black, but it won't be visible, so it doesn't really matter what color it will be. Say you can try a lot of combinations and go with the one that you like. So I'm gonna leave it like that, and I'm just gonna change the environment a bit here because it's a bit too blue. Okay, maybe it can be a bit darker, kind of like that. Okay. And that's the case. Now the speaker, this is gonna be pretty simple. So this is gonna be the alloy. Make it bluish color. Okay, so alloy. This is gonna be the speaker center. Which is gonna be some type of a chrome material, but very blurry. Okay, and this is gonna be the fiber, kind of like a carbon fiber. And this is gonna be rubber, along with some parts from the fiber material, which we're gonna define right now. So I'm just gonna select two polygons, hit L on the keyboard for loop, and then this is gonna be rubber. Same thing here. I'm gonna grow the selection with shift up arrow. So rubber. And well, maybe this can be the same as speaker center. Okay. And the fiber can be like some red color. Okay, now the bottom speaker, since it's an instance, it's gonna have the same materials as the one that we textured. Oh, and we forgot the bolts. So these are gonna be just standard iron. So call these bolts. Dark color. Okay. And now the tweeter is gonna be the same as the speaker center. And this is gonna be alloy. Bolts. And this is going to be rubber. And now for the KEF plate, can leave it as so bolts, and the plate is going to be some type of brushed material, so we're going to leave it like some gray type, and these are going to be a black matte, so I'm just going to leave it KEF like that, and we're going to see what material we assign when we get there. Okay, first things first, let's start with the front panel. Make sure you switch to test cam. And just zoom in to the tweeter here. Okay, and the front panel, I'm going to use a wood here, and I'm going to do a few modifications. See this one. Yeah, this is procedural. We're going to use the one with the image map, this one, and we're going to change this to box with auto size, and we're going to change the size to say 20. Yeah, that should work. You can go even smaller if you want to, but just gonna leave it like that. And now I'm gonna add a, well, you can either add a constant and just play with it till you get the color you want, but I'm gonna add a process, if I can find it. Okay, process as diffuse color, and I'm gonna change the process, and I'm gonna change the saturation to -100. I'm gonna leave the hue and the value, actually the value, I'm gonna turn it down till I get some black value. Well, not -100, but -50, and say the saturation kind of like that. And you can play with the blend modes and get some funky colors, but I'm just gonna leave it at normal, and I'm gonna play with some values. So I'm gonna leave the bias at 12. Okay, let's change for a bit to the Sharkcam and give it a quick render. And yeah, this looks alright, just that we need more reflection on here, so we can change that to 5. And %85 diffuse amount. If you're not happy with this, you can always like leave it like that and play with other values. Anyway, it depends on you. Now, the front panel is done. Let's start with the case black. So the case black is gonna be, I think it was this one, yeah, metal soft black. And we're gonna use the same material for the other parts, just that we're gonna change the color to white and the diffuse amount to about 95. Okay, and let's just give that a test render. We're getting some speckles here. Those are from the noise bump, and if that bothers you, you can always go for a plastic material, which you can either find in the 9B pad presets, or you can use the standard presets that come with Modo. So like that. We want some reflection on here. We don't want it to be blurry. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this, copy, paste. Okay, and I'm gonna change this to white. And now we can give it a render. And you can either leave it like that, or I don't know, you can go and do whatever you want. One thing I want to do now with the black here is just give it a bit more black, kind of like that. Okay. And another test render. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like this. It's looking okay for me. And now the alloy. We're gonna change this to test cam. We're gonna zoom in here, and the alloy is gonna be this material here, metal soft light. And we're gonna play a bit with the gradient here. Actually, either the gradient, either the base. You can light it up. I'm gonna use a value of 236. Okay. Maybe give it a bluish tint. Or if you want, you can change the tweeter material. So make it alloy 2 and make them black. So just duplicate, copy, paste, and make them black. Okay. And now we're gonna go and do the speaker center here, which is gonna be a chromish material. So we're gonna set the diffuse amount to 10, the reflection amount to 85. Specular amount to 32, roughness about 30, and we're going to turn on blurry reflection. And I think I'm not too happy with the environment that we chose. It's not giving us nice reflections, so we're gonna add a new environment. Just a second here. And load image. Let's try 22. I'm not happy with this one either. Let's go with this one. kind of like it's uniform, you know. Okay, so now for the speaker center, we're going to use a noise, which is going to be a reflection amount, and we're going to make it smaller, like 10 centimeters. Okay, and the opacity of this layer is going to be 70%. Okay, and now for the speaker fiber, we're going to use a material from the Modo presets. It's in plastic, composite, and we're going to use the carbon fiber epoxy material. And this is going to be the diffuse color, but again, you can play with the diffuse color by either adding a process or a constant layer. So I'm going to add a constant, and I'm going to make it like that. I'm going to change the mode to multiply. So this bump needs to be box. Okay. Box. Ten centimeters should be all right. Okay, and well, if you like some other color, maybe pink, I don't know. Let's just go with blue. Okay, and the rubber, it's gonna be, well, you can either use pad preset or make it your own. I don't know, depends. I'm gonna get this one, and I'm just gonna delete the displacement, the drivers, and I'm happy with it right now. And I think this was it. Oh, we forgot we need the bolts and the KEF plate. So the bolts are gonna be pretty standard. We're gonna add a noise layer, which is gonna be smaller than this. Yeah, 1 millimeter. We're gonna change this to bump, and we're gonna change the bump strength to 20, and the reflection amount at 2. Fresnel 20, and we're gonna turn on blurry reflection. Also gonna give it a darker color, and we're gonna take conserve energy on, and the specular amount of 30 with, oh, actually maybe 15 with 20 roughness. And I think that maybe this is too much. 5 should be okay. Say 10 roughness. Okay, and the plate, Okay, so the plate is gonna be a brushed material. So we have a brushed here, metal brushed. Let's zoom in. Brushed access control. So I don't really know how this works, but I bet if we change this to 2 centimeters and the Y to 200 UM, yeah, we're gonna get brushed like that, but we don't want it to be that way. We want it to be that way. Okay, so we want the brushes to be a bit bigger so we can see them. Maybe 10. 25. Okay. We want a lighter metal like that. And now the KEF logo is gonna be the metal brushed dark, but I don't really like this one, so I'm gonna go with the metal soft dark if I can find it. There we go, metal soft black. And now we can change over to the Sharkcam. Save the scene. And now we're gonna add another output. Make sure that your gamma for the final color output is set to 2.2. And now we're gonna add a new render output. It's gonna be ambient occlusion. We're gonna turn the other outputs off. We're gonna switch over to the Sharkcam. And the ambient occlusion raise should be 128 minimum. I'm just gonna leave it at like that, and the range should be no more than 10 centimeters. But I think that this is already too much. Yep, it's too much, way too much. Say 2. Okay, this works. Maybe 3. Okay. And now we're gonna render our image. We're gonna go for something like, I don't know, 850 by 800. And we're gonna need to turn off the ambient intensity, not off, but we're just gonna make it insignificant. So the rate threshold should be 0.005. Samples are okay. We're just gonna need to change the cadmium ROM. Say 300 irradiance rays, and I think that's about it. Now let's give it a render. It's not gonna take too long. It depends on your machine. And after we're done with this color render, we're gonna get an ambient occlusion render, but we need for that one we need to extend the floor. Okay. I'm just gonna, for time's sake, I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna resume when it's done. Okay, so it just finished rendering. One thing I forgot to do is assign the alloy 2 material to these smaller pieces, and I had to stop the render and assign the material and then re-render. But anyway, this is a very fast render if you want to achieve a very photorealistic result. You need to spend a lot more time than 40 minutes to set up a render. Anyway, let's save this image. Um, so let's save it as a PNG, or you can go with whatever you want. Call this color. Okay. You can see we have an alpha output, but we're not going to use it. And now we're going to turn off the color and the alpha, and we're just going to leave the ambient occlusion. First of all, save your scene, and then we're going to duplicate the floor. We're going to hide the first floor, and we're just going to use edge extend on this one, and we're going to move it up. And now we're going to bevel it, and we're going to render, just so we get a uniform white all around. Okay. Okay, so I'm running out of time here. I'm trying to save as much as I can. You can use JPEG extension for the AO. So I'm going to call it JPEG. Let's just save. And then we're going to drag our color and our AO inside Photoshop. It's going to take a bit. Okay, and if we save it as PNG, we kind of skipped the background, but that doesn't really matter, since you can either use your custom background or, well, I don't know, you can do whatever you want pretty much. We're gonna fill it. You can try with black, but it won't look too good. But we're gonna fill it with a gradient, actually. Either like that, or you can try a more darker version. It all depends on you. Oops. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave it like this. Okay. Then I'm gonna get the ambient occlusion. I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna paste it over and set it to overlay. I'm sorry, multiply, not overlay. And see, we're gonna get more contrast and more soft shadows on the intersection. See, it's looking much better. And above that, you can add some curves for even more contrast. Depends on your taste. And again, you can play with the background and get whatever result you want. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and cheers.